Hello and welcome back to the channel where today I'm going to be discussing Barcelona again. Some updates, obviously the big story is still Messi, but we have a couple of transfer rumours to discuss as well. So as I say, we will start with Messi, which is still the big story. So the latest situation is after obviously last week he put in the transfer request or supposedly stated that he is no longer under contract with the club. So this week his father has flew in from Argentina. His father George is his agent, and he's arrived in Argentina. It's believed he had a meeting with Barcelona president Bartomeu yesterday, and he's met his son today. He's been with lawyers. He's been with the Messi Foundation. So nobody has sort of said for definite what's happening. The rumours and leaks that seem to be coming from the meetings seem to be more suggesting that Barcelona might be in the right. Which so far it's kind of been that most of the leaks have kind of been like more towards the Messi side of things. So I don't know whether something come out in that meeting or whether it's just simply that the leaks are coming from Barcelona's side this time and maybe previously they were coming from Messi's. But some people are saying now that there's a likelihood that he may stay for one more season at Barcelona, see out his contract, and then move on. Um, Obviously, there could be a couple of different reasons for that. But the most likely for me is if it's going to come down to a legal thing. Realistically, this could drag on for a year. So if it's going to be going on, he's maybe just thinking, right, well, rather than letting the legal side of things, drag on, cost a lot of money, for a case that might be difficult to win, such as the wording, which it supposedly says on his contract. He's perhaps just says, right, well, I'll see out the contract and know definitely then that I can go. Save myself obviously the money from having the legal battle, the stress of the legal battle, and if he goes into the legal battle, there's a chance it might not be resolved, before this time next year anyway. So he might just have decided he's had enough of that. Obviously, then if he stays for another year, it might open up things for Barcelona. It's well known that there's due to be elections next year. It's well known that large contingents of the club's fans aren't happy with the current president. So it is expected that he will be replaced. Although with Barcelona socios and the fact that five years ago they voted for him in massive numbers, despite warnings even back as far as then, you just don't know. But the likelihood is he'll move on. So how much will that impact what he wants to do? Is it something that he just genuinely wants to go somewhere else before he finishes? Is it a case of if it's someone that he likes, if it's someone that brings in Xavi, is he going to want to stay? Obviously, as I say, if he drags it on for a year, things might change. There might be something happen within that year. So, what is the actual impact of if he decides to stay now and he decides to see out another year? So, obviously, at the minute, he's the club captain. The players obviously voted him in as like the Barcelona have four captains and they sort of go in a hierarchy. He's the captain, he's number one captain, so if he plays he has the armband. Should he keep that role? As I say, at the minute the players vote for who the captain is at Barcelona. So is it something that Koeman's willing to come in and say, look, I'm not entirely sure what your commitment is here at the minute, so should he be stripped of the captaincy? It's obviously it's a difficult situation. If it was just purely a manager making that decision, I think it would probably be straightforward to let him concentrate on what he's doing on the pitch, rather than have the extra stress of the armband. But obviously it's more difficult. There's also an argument to be had for Barcelona fans, and One that, to be quite honest with you, I kind of hold myself is that if he is of the situation where he's like told everybody he wants to leave, and he did say at the time that his contract situation was difficult, he didn't know whether he would be able to get out or not. Um, should he stay? Has it gone too far now at this point? Personally, I think it probably has. Um, it probably has gone too far. Um, if he genuinely wants to leave the club, um, you know, do you want a guy who's only here just to tick a box, that he needs to stay until June 2021? Um, Obviously Messi's been a massive influence. In my opinion, he's the best player that there's ever been. He's a player I remember at the start of his career, I remember actually where I was the first time I ever seen him playing. Whenever he come on and scored. I can still remember watching that. I've seen all the great moments. I've seen it all. Just sort of the age and the length of time I've been following the club. I've seen it all, and as I say, he is undoubtedly, in my opinion, the best player that ever lived. But at some point, he is going to leave the club. He is going to go, whether it's now, whether it's next season, whether he decides, no, I want to see it out at Barcelona and stays. It's only going to probably be for a couple of years. So if the club are serious about making changes and starting the rebuild, if they can get a large sum for him, it's probably in their best interest to do so now, because as I say, he doesn't seem like he wants to be there. If they can get the money for him, then all, it's obviously something that they should look to do. There seems to be a thing with Barcelona fans at the minute where, there seems to be an element of fans that want this all to get ugly for Barcelona. Whereas, like there was a Barcelona before Messi, there'll be a Barcelona after Messi. As I said, he's the best player I've ever seen, and there's no doubt that Barcelona, it'll obviously be very different without him. But at the same time, as far as I'm concerned, if you're a Barcelona fan, you want the best for Barcelona. That's what you should want. It seems to me that some people are getting mixed up in their hatred for the president, and like some sort of a feeling of loyalty to a footballer. Like no matter what happens here, I think Messi's going to come out of it okay. He's still going to be a millionaire. He still had a career. People seem to think that Barcelona really owes him. Whenever you can look at that two ways. Like Barcelona paid him, made him one of the richest people in sport. They paid him big money. And they also, they were done a lot for Messi before he became a professional footballer, which wouldn't have happened for a lot of players. So in some ways, he owes Barcelona as well. And in my opinion, there's probably reached a point where there's a balance there where he's given a lot to Barcelona, Barcelona's given a lot to him. There might be a natural time to go. There's obviously the question about if he is there next year, like how interested is he going to be? Over the last couple of years, the criticism that I've had of Messi is sometimes he just looks disinterested. He genuinely just like he's all for going one way. He's all give him the ball at his feet and magic happens. But he's not notorious for being a hard worker. He's not running about. He's not doing doggies up and down the line, which in many ways obviously that you're going to say he's Lionel Messi, but the successful clubs over the last 5 years since the last time Barcelona won the league won the Champions League in 2015, successes went to the clubs. They're all hard workers. There's the expression that what is it? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And you look at it, and like some of these players, like some of the teams, like Real Madrid have also won it. They're full of talent. Liverpool have won it. Bayern Munich have won it. They've all got brilliant players. They've all got brilliant squads. But you look at some of them, and like that Liverpool team in particular, they're Premier League champions this year and Champions League winners the last year. But not only are they better than a lot of the other teams that they play, they also work harder than them. And that for me makes a big difference. And I would say it's my one criticism where football goes in cycles. There was a cycle, obviously. Guardiola had his time, and the tiki taka worked, and then it got found out eventually after Jose Mourinho at the time Inter Milan put them to the sword. Atletico Madrid done it a number of times against Barcelona in recent years. It makes a big difference sometimes whenever the game goes in cycles in the way it has. Certainly there was sort of the defensive minded teams had a while, and then like you look at certain managers. Guardiola had his time, Jose Mourinho had his time, and obviously they're very different. Guardiola was all about having the ball. Mourinho was about getting his attacking players to defend. Nowadays, it's not so much about getting your attacking players to defend, but it's to get your attacking players to attack without the ball. Or they'll put pressure on defenders. They'll do the high press. Barcelona and Messi do not do the high press. Everybody talks about, not having good enough players. There's plenty of players there that are world-class level. But the way they're implementing it, be it the manager, be it players not doing what they're supposed to do. But over the last couple of years, Suarez, Messi haven't been putting pressure on defenders, and then it makes things easier for teams to play out and puts pressure on Barcelona's midfield and defence. And it's not something that's going to change. As I see, I don't suddenly think that Messi's going to start running whether he stays, doesn't stay, or whatever. And winning football at the minute is all about working hard, and it's not something that we've seen recently. So, for me, I personally think that the best outcome at the minute for Barcelona, not for Lionel Messi, not for Josep Maria Bartomeu or whatever is, anybody else that's involved in the current board, the best outcome for Barcelona right now is to get a big amount of money, big amount of money. Personally, I hope that when the money comes in, it's not just flung at some of the ridiculous players that Barcelona have signed over the last couple of years. Obviously, there's been some good ones and some, some completely ridiculous ones, which I'm going to get onto another one in a minute. But get as much money in, give the new board a clean slate whenever they come in next summer, and I think that's the best outcome in the long run for Barcelona. But it's a development story, so we'll come back with that one, whenever the time comes. But before I go, I have another couple of stories I just want to touch on. I'll do the all-out departure first. Luis Suarez to Juventus. There's a part of me, obviously, watching Barcelona over the last couple of years, and as I've criticised Suarez and Messi for not putting in the shift that I think needs to happen to win at the very highest level at this point in time. But then there's also something about Juventus have got this record of signing players who are maybe people don't think that they're maybe past their best and stuff, and there's part of that scares me a little bit, just as far as could go there. I think it probably is the right time to let him go. But I definitely don't agree with this. Let him go on a free transfer or pay him 25 million to go. If you're going to be paying him 25 million, pay him 25 million and have him on the bench. Have him on the bench or have him starting games whenever there's injuries and stuff. There's no way you're paying £25 million to let a player leave the club. That's just hideous and ridiculous. But wherever he goes, whatever happens, for me, Suarez, he's been a great servant to the club. He had a couple of fantastic seasons. Even last season, there was times where he done things like some of his finishes were in games pulled us out of a hole, and you're just kind of looking at it and thinking there's not very many other strikers could have done that. But he's getting to an age now where I've got no problem with him moving on. But what I do have a problem with is we seem adamant. We seem to want to get rid of, obviously, we want to get rid of Rakitic, we want to get rid of Suarez, certain other older players. Where my problem lies now is the player who we seem to be linked with and possibly on the verge of signing Gini Wijnaldum from Liverpool. Wijnaldum's a good player. He's a player I've watched for a lot of his career. I remember him like as far back as PSV days. I actually remember a Champions League qualifier against AC Milan, and I remember looking at the PSV team at the time and thinking, in like a decade's time, a lot of them players are going to have had very good careers. Now, incidentally, some of them didn't have as good a careers as they could have. Wijnaldum, obviously, a Premier League winner, a Champions League winner, scored two against Barcelona in the Anfield debacle. But my problem isn't necessarily with the player himself. It's the fact that we're sending out a mixed message where we're trying to make the club younger, yet what we've done so far this summer that's been confirmed is we've signed two midfielders who are like 29 and 30, and Wijnaldum, obviously, if he does come, and Pjanic. So why are we doing that? I don't understand it. Again, the sporting project at Barcelona has been stupid for a while now, but it just seems like I'm not sure. Like ever since Koeman's come in, I'm not sure whether Barcelona's been linked with anybody who wasn't Dutch. So far, it just seems like he's pretty much just wants to build the Dutch national team. And Barcelona, it just seems constantly it's Depay, it's Wijnaldum. Just seems to be a stream of Dutch players being linked at the minute. And as I say, Wijnaldum's a good player. I have no problem with Wijnaldum as a player. I think he's a good player, but at 29, he's going to come in. He's going to be there for a year or two. Obviously, the year or two that he's going to be there, like he's probably had his peak, and he's probably now on the other side of the peak. So it just feels to me like it's a mixed message. It's not what we want to do. We would rather see people like Carlos Arena, people like Ricky Pugh, give them opportunities, give the youngsters a chance, whereas he just seems like another person that's going to come in and he's going to block the path for one of our younger players to develop and get an opportunity in the first team. Obviously, he might not come in. We don't know. We don't know for definite if he's going to sign, but at the minute it looks like it's quite close. I think he's got a year left in his contract at Liverpool, and they're trying to bring in Thiago Alcantara. Obviously ex-Barcelona as well, so it looks like they're willing to part with him to get Thiago in. But as I say, he's 29 years old, another midfielder, and I just feel like I would rather see the minutes go to one of the younger guys. So that's all I have for now. Obviously, as stories develop, the Messi thing is probably going to be going on for a while, I would imagine, unless somebody breaks ranks and says exactly what's happening or the situation develops. But I'll obviously be back in the next few days with international break. There's no games or nothing to talk about in the season. Obviously, so I think we're still maybe 2 weeks away from the season, 3 weeks away. But I will be back in the next few days, hopefully with something positive to talk about. But until then, thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you.